So the CRL Commission says it continues to receive complaints of abuse, spiritual transgressions and abuse of religious freedom as there is nobody monitoring the sector. Well, the Section 22 Commission for the Christian sector will now begin conducting extensive research in provinces around the country on the abuse of congregants and overall conduct of church leaders.
Their behaviors that are unbecoming, inappropriate, unsuitable, sometimes even indecent, that happens within churches in this country. Who is monitoring that? Who is making sure that those things don't happen? Even putting aside the illegal part, just the part when something happens in this church and the pastor is saying things he shouldn't be saying to young girls in his church. It's not illegal if the girl is above 18, but it shouldn't be happening in a church. The behavior is unbecoming. In the Christian sector, in particular, we don't have that system. We have been saying we need to have a system that has a legal framework that will tell us, for instance, who's doing what where. No one in this country knows how many religious leaders we have, how many churches we have, where they are, what is happening there. We're setting up what we call a Section 22 committee because it draws its powers from Section 22 of the Act. And we're saying this is the committee that will help us deal with the challenges in the religious sector, in this particular instance, in the Christian sector. The terms of reference for the Section 22 committee, we are asking that they come up with mechanisms to deal with issues in the religious sector, especially promoting and protecting the rights of the Christian believer while ensuring that religious freedom is maintained in line with the Constitution. We are also saying they'll undertake provincial and national consultations with the religious leaders in the Christian sector. We are also saying they will develop strategies to deal with and curb spiritual transgressions. Those would be the abuse of people's beliefs. And then they'll make recommendations for a legal and or legislated framework aimed at promoting peer review mechanisms in the religious sector. They will also encourage collaborative and cooperative relationships within the Christian religious sector. They'll also conduct extensive research to assess the scale and impact of abuse of people's beliefs and harmful religious practices in eroding the religious rights of Christians, religious believers, Christian religious believers, especially when monitoring is slack or absent. So that's what the terms of reference will be, but if you need copies, I'm sure Bianca can give you copies of these terms of reference. We are also very strong in saying we will not be part of this committee as the CRL Rights Commission. We will be the secretariat of this committee. This committee will be run by religious leaders themselves and not by the CRL Rights Commission.
And that committee will be led by Professor Musa Xulu.
Unfortunately, and society is aware that part of the practices within the Christian faith, especially, where there is no monitoring, usually the one person kind of religious enterprise is most of the time found to be followed by spiritual transgressions. And spiritual transgressions, because they are sometimes intangible, they have a tendency to touch on souls negatively, sometimes affecting people and afflicting them for the rest of their lives. As a constitutional state where religion has been defined as having a freedom, the freedom, of course, will always have limitations. That's why you have freedom of speech, but it does not mean that you can say anything anytime to anybody about anything. Freedoms always go with responsibility, accountability, and limitations. And in this case, I think this committee will do a lot of research, also comparing with what is happening in other countries. We saw what happened in Japan when a certain mega church started becoming law unto itself. It's not just a South African problem. It's becoming a world problem, this issue of spiritual transgressions. We say to the Commission, as a committee, we will commit to doing the work diligently and working with yourselves and everybody. We hope for the best of results.
Well, the committee has been given a year to conduct its work and report back. Crisalda Lewis, SABC News in Johannesburg.